Imagine yourself sitting in a circle under a large baobab tree. In front of you, there is a wooden board carved with small cups and round, smooth seeds. You are going to play a game called a whale. This game is very ancient. It was already played in Africa thousands of years ago, long before the pyramids of Egypt were built. As you move the seeds, you do calculations in your head, you anticipate your opponent's moves, and you learn patience. But this game also tells a story, that of unity. In Africa, people have always invented games to think together, to share a moment, to remember their ancestors. Today, we are going to discover Pan-Africanism. This somewhat complicated word means that all the inhabitants of Africa, and all people of African origin around the world, are united like the seeds of the same whale board. They share a history, songs, scents, fabrics, and flavors. Pan-Africanism is the idea that Africa's strength comes from its diversity, but also from its unity. It is a bit like each African country is a cup on the board, different, but essential for the game to work. In this course, we will travel through the senses, we will smell the incense burning in the markets, taste the chili and ginger, touch the cotton of Kent and Bogolan fabrics, and listen to the beating of the drum. We will also understand how Africans and black people around the world have come together to say, we are proud of our skin, our history, our culture. It all starts with a game, a story, a taste. So, close your eyes for a moment and imagine the warm African sun on your skin. Are you ready to play SEP games that unite, a whale and Mancala? You may know how to play checkers or chess. But do you know a whale? It is an African strategy game. A wooden board with 2 rows of holes is used. Each player moves seeds or pebbles. The goal is to capture the other player's seeds. But this game is not just fun, it teaches counting, anticipation, and patience. In many African villages, children play a whale after school, sitting on the ground, under the shade of a tree. Grandparents show the little ones how to place the seeds. It is a moment of sharing. Mancala is a family of games that includes a whale. Mancala boards have been found in Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old. Can you imagine? Children, a very long time ago, already played with the same rules as you today. This game traveled with African slaves to America, the Caribbean, and Brazil. There, it changed names, it is called a wari saw voa. But the principle remains the same. Pan-Africanism is also this, traditions that cross oceans and connect peoples. When you play a whale, you make the same gesture as millions of African children and the diaspora. You are connected to them.
Play is the first school of life. And a whale reminds us that Africa invented thinking games long before the arrival of Europeans. It is a source of pride. So, the next time you play a board game, remember that Africa gave the world the pleasure of thinking while having fun. SAP Scents and Flavors of Africa, a taste journey. Close your eyes and imagine a kitchen. You smell a strong, slightly peppery scent, it is chili. Right next to it, a sweet and warm scent, it is cinnamon. And that earthy, smoky smell? It is dried fish or grilled meat. African cuisine is a festival of flavors. Each region has its spices. In West Africa, chile, ginger, garlic, and onion are used. They prepare fufu, a dough made from yam or cassava, eaten with sauces. In East Africa, nyama choma, grilled meat with spices, is popular. In North Africa, you find couscous, mint, and saffron. Pan-Africanism is also the idea that all these dishes, all these smells, are branches of the same tree. African slaves took their recipes to America. Today, you might eat gumbo, a steer jambalaya, a spicy rick without knowing that these dishes come from Africa. The word gumbo comes from an African word for okra, a green vegetable. Spices tell the story of trade routes. Pepper, cinnamon, cloves came from Africa and Asia, and were exchanged for gold, salt, or fabrics. In class, we can organize a scent workshop. We bring small pots with chili, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. We smell them with eyes closed, and guess where they come from. We also taste, carefully, a bit of peanut butter, dried mango, honey. We discover that African honey is very fragrant because bees forage on wildflowers. We can also prepare a simple dish, fried plantains, called a loco and ivory kosher sweet millet semolina with yogurt. While cooking, we touch, smell, taste, listen to the sound of frying. We feel African for the duration of a meal. Pan-Africanism is knowing that these flavors are our common heritage. Each bite is a story. Isipi fabrics that speak, Canton Bogolan. Have you ever seen a fabric with geometric patterns and bright colors? Yellow, red, green, blue, black. This fabric is called Kent. It comes from Ghana, in West Africa. Kings and chiefs wore Kent during important ceremonies. Each color has a meaning. Yellow represents wealth, green growth, red the blood of ancestors, blue peace, black wisdom. When you wear a Kent garment, you tell a story. The patterns also have names: the bird's tail, the morning stars, the warrior's return. Bogolan comes from Mali. It is a fabric dyed with mud and plants. Yes, mud. The women of Mali take iron-rich mud, ferment it, and apply it to cotton. The white and black patterns represent proverbs, events, clans.
Ease of Kent or Bogolan hidden in their clothes. This piece of fabric reminded them of their home, their family, their culture. Today, fashion designers use these fabrics to make dresses, bags, shoes. They say, "I am African, I am proud." Pan-Africanism is also this, showing the world the beauty of African art. In class, we can make our own small piece of fabric. We take a square of white cotton. We draw patterns with black paint to imitate mud. We can use stencils and zigzags, triangles, circles. We let it dry. Then, we color with vegetable dyes, beetroot for red, turmeric for yellow, spinach for green. We get a unique fabric, like a painting. We can also listen to weavers' stories. In Ghana, weavers sing while working. Their songs talk about life, love, ancestors. The sound of the loom is like a drum, clack, clack, clack. By touching the fabric, we touch the soul of Africa. SEP sounds of unity, drums, songs, and dances. The drum is the heart of Africa. In many villages, the drum is beaten to announce a celebration, a wedding, a birth, or to call people to a meeting. The drum speaks. It imitates the human voice. Messages can be sent from one village to another through rhythms. For example, a fast rhythm might mean danger, a slow rhythm peace. In Senegal, the djem is played, a goblet-shaped drum carved from a tree trunk and covered with goatskin. In Nigeria, the talking drum is used, which can imitate the tones of the Yoruba language. Songs also tell history. African slaves, forcibly taken to America, sang to keep hope. They sang in secret, at night, to remember their land. These songs became spirituals or blues. Today, African music has influenced jazz, reggae, hip-hop, salsa. Pan-Africanism is recognizing that Africa's rhythm beats in all the world's music. In class, we can make a small drum with a plastic yogurt pot and a balloon. We stretch the balloon over the opening of the pot, secure it with an elastic band. We get a drum. We can tap with fingers, a pencil, the palm. We listen to the different sounds. We can also learn a simple rhythm, ta, ta, ti, ta. We can dance in a circle, like in African dances. We lift our knees, swing our arms, stamp our feet. We can also listen to songs like Mbiob, which became The Lion Sleeps Tonight, or songs of women pounding millet. The sound of the pestle in the mortar is a rhythm, boom, boom, boom. Women sing while working. Work becomes a celebration. By listening, dancing, playing the drum, we feel the energy of Africa. We understand that Pan-Africanism is also a celebration, a shared joy. SEP heroes of Pan-Africanism, voices that changed the world.
Treated. He decided to fight for Africa to be free, without colonizers. In 1957, Ghana became the first country in Africa to gain independence. Nkrumah said, "The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked to the total liberation of Africa." He wanted all African countries to unite, like the United States of Africa. He organized conferences with other leaders. Another hero is Marcus Garvey. He was born in Jamaica. He created a movement for black people to be proud of their skin and return to Africa. He said, "A people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots." He founded a shipping company, the Black Star Line, to transport black people to Africa. Even though his dream did not fully succeed, he inspired millions of people. There is also Aimé Césaire, from Martinique. He invented the word negritude to say, "I am black, and I am proud." He wrote beautiful poems. And then there is Nelson Mandela, from South Africa. He spent 27 years in prison for fighting against apartheid, a system that separated black and white people. Upon his release, he became president and advocated reconciliation. He said, "Education is the most powerful weapon to change the world." All these heroes believed that Africans, wherever they are, should unite. They used books, speeches, songs, poems. Today, Pan-Africanism continues. The African Union, created in 2002, brings together 55 African countries. They work together for peace, trade, health. In class, we can read excerpts from speeches by these heroes. We can look at photos of them. We can draw their portraits. We can also write a short letter to a child from another African country, as if we were a friend. Pan-Africanism is a dream that continues. And you can be part of it, by playing, cooking, weaving, singing, and being proud of Africa. CP. To remember this course, use your 5 senses. When you hear the word Pan-Africanism, think of the taste of chili, the smell of incense, the touch of Kent, the sound of the drum, the sight of bright colors. Make a small sensory notebook, glue a piece of fabric and a whale seed, write a recipe, draw a drum. Recite the names of the heroes out loud: Nkrumah, Garvey, Césaire, Mandela. Play a whale with a classmate while counting points in Swahili: Moja, 1, Mbili, 2, Tatu, 3, Nine, 4, Tano, 5. The more you use your senses, the more you will remember. SEP. Want to know more? Ask an adult to help you watch documentaries on African games, African cuisine, or Kent fabrics. You can also read books like L'Afrique, Petit Choca by Marie Cellier or Le Griot de L'Eau by Jean-Claude Morlavat. You can listen to African music, Youssou N'Dour, Salif Keita, Angelique Kidjo. You can also visit an African museum near you, or an exhibition. And A.